All right. So grants, there's some grants out there by the Peace Officer Standards and Training. I don't know if any of you guys notice on when you renew your license plates, you pay $2 a year to that. That funds facilities like this. I'll show you some pictures of what that looked like before we started, what this place looked like. It was nothing like it does today. So in 2016 and 17 year, because their grant years, they're on July to June with the state. We were awarded $241,000 throughout here for range improvements. In 2018-19 grant, we got $90,000 to build the building over there. So that first one, and we'll have pictures, built these first two buildings. And then the next one built the one over there, and maybe part of this arrest control building. It's been so long. So there's what our first building looked like. It's half the size of the one you see over there. When you would go inside, there was no bathrooms out here other than some mold boilers that they made in porta potties. So there was no restrooms. So inside that thing, didn't matter how much you cleaned it. It was nasty in there, full of mice. It was just a tin shed. Not much insulation, things like that. So that's what we started with. After that, we doubled the size of it, moved it out 20 more feet to the back, and we'll give you guys a tour of all this. If it's not tonight, it'll be the next time you're out here, since state patrol's over there. But we turned that first part into a kitchenette, and then the back part into a small classroom, and that's where we'll be for the next one. It's a little cozier than this great big room, and we want you to see the whole facility. Inside that kitchenette, and with the grant money, we were able to buy that stuff, but a lot of the work was Mike Ingebrett and I just coming out on our time off and stuff, doing drywall, framing, things like that, and then other people help volunteer too. So it was a great thing. That's what that classroom looks like where you guys will be. That happens to be Mike Steves, who's one of our firearms instructors during an academy class, teaching some firearms there. The turning target, we had a terrible, so we'll show you in real life, problem with, what am I wanting to call it here? Technology. So we had to have everything emailed out here, and the videos don't work. So I just showed a picture of the turning targets there. So nothing you're missing.
You got to see them down there earlier.
Yes.
Come out.
Yeah. We got concrete barriers, or not barriers, but more like yard markers. So that's where the officers get to stand when we're doing stationary shooting. So they're not having to stand in the mud. And it automatically measures off distances that we shoot for different things. Prior to that, we would have to come out before the training with a string and one of those chalk things or paint and paint our yard markers so we knew where our yard markers were.
There's always that guy you can't see very well that fudges that too when he steps forward, so you have to call him out on that all the time.
So that was one of the first things. And you'll notice here there's a little shed over here, and there's nothing there. I want you to see the pictures as it grows. That's a little target shed for our targets and target stands. And then we got some picnic benches, you know, because when people come out here, if we are working the whole day, we can bring a lunch, or you'll see we have the kitchenette we can cook, and then barbecues, we can have barbecues. The next building was this building you're in today, the arrest control building. And I call it a multi-purpose too, because as you see, we can use it as bigger classrooms. Got twice the capacity of the classroom over there. So you guys are in here, so you can see for yourselves what those look like in here. And then that gate you come in out there that is open right now, it's actually a power security gate. We usually don't leave it open, because when we got officers and deputies, troopers, whoever's in here use it, firing live firearms, we don't want people wandering in off the street. So it makes it very secure. Plus it also secures all our property and stuff in here, so people can't get in here and take things and damage things. And then we started putting concrete around everything. I don't know if you remember the arrest control building very first picture I showed you. It's dirt all the way around it. So we started getting grants, building concrete. These two things here are benches, so you can do long range shooting and sighting in your rifles. And they're back here at the 200-yard line and the 100-yard line. And our very first storage out here was a couple of these little lawn sheds. They were nice, bought with grant money, but you really can't store a whole lot in them. Was the issue with those. What else? This, you'll see there's a gazebo type thing or awning over the top of the building over there out to the grass. So good place for picnics. That's where we cook underneath it. As you can see the barbecue here. So that's just showing we got grant money to fix that. We got a pad out here, and you'll see a white trailer on that trailer. That's a driving simulator trailer, so you guys get in there, drive the simulator if you like. And then this just is we had our turning targets in the first grant. Well, then we got to finish the concrete the next 50 yards out. Then we use that to put steel targets on, things like that we're shooting for different trainings and exercises. And then this is the start of the building next to it. We call it our simunitions building, because inside it, we have movable walls and things. And simunitions, to help you guys understand it looks like a real Glock handgun, but it shoots a little paint pellet that really hurts, about 200 and some feet per second. And it teaches officers as realistic, complete live fire training as we can do without using real animal things. So it's a good thing. It gets them used to having to use that gun and being justified. Great training tool. Inside there, which you guys will get to use, is also called a TI simulator. So there'll be a video playing up in front of you and you get to interact with it. We'll be moving that to town at St. Pat's, just so we can have more room in our simulator room soon, but we're gonna leave it out here for you guys so you don't have to travel two places that day. That was the start of it, what it looked like. And that's what you guys will see now. So those are the walls I talked about. We also use that area there for gun cleaning. We have the cabinets for all our gun cleaning things, a couple safes, so in case we have to leave some firearms or anything out here, they're in a safe. And just the inside of the simunition room to set it up to look like a house, something realistic that the officers, deputies may encounter. You think?
No, just again, it was a lot of this is grant and research and money donated and paid for. And I think what's most impressive, I've been in a lot of ranges and a lot of facilities all over the state, and this one stacks up significantly to a lot of them I've been in. And it's not just the police department or local sheriff's office, this is regional. So the state patrol has benefited from this since I remember the early days of coming out. It was just a range, but it's developed so much that we host other kind of training here. Other departments bring people in for training. The patrol is out here tonight doing some crossover training for them. And so it's a great opportunity for community, but Lahana benefits from that because everybody comes to our community for this training that they bring in and the people that come here. And it's just tremendous vision on the chief's part and the opportunity to build this in and partner with Otero Law Enforcement Academy and several other big groups to bring this to what it's become today, from all those discussions all those years ago about what if and what this would look like if it could ever be something. So it looks like buildings and pictures here, but it's a lot of dedication by the chief and a few people around him for some really blood, sweat, and tears to make this work. And it's easy to gloss it, but really as you're walking around, just think about the benefit to us, our community, and our citizens and people here, and specifically all of our first responders and law enforcement folks that get to use this facility weekly and monthly here as a great training resource.
So how many acres are out here?
That I don't know.
I'll
I'll find that out for you.
It's the fence line. You can get an idea. It's the fence line down around behind the berms, and then before the sewage area, and then back up in the fence line here. So everything inside this fence is in the property.
And we actually had a little more, but at the time we fenced this, it was before grants were available, so I was doing it with capital outlay a little bit at a time. So we were just having to do sections, so we cut it down so we could afford to fence it. And so we did do the fence with capital outlay first, and the first bathroom that you'll see in there. After that, it all was grants. And I was talking to, think about when we bring in these big classes. We just had one in here last week. It had 14, but we've had up to 50 people in these classes. It's a week long. They came from all over the state. So motels are being used, restaurants, things like that. So it does help the economy of Lahana to have those come. Plus, it helps us in making contacts with other people from other agencies across the state, and just get to know a lot of other people and resources they can offer.
You might make a killing on your food truck if it was parked just outside
Yes.
the fence out here.
Does somebody, if they did have a food truck, can they put it out here?
There's
That would
one
be-
coming
That'd
out
be a
here.
good question.
That'd be a good question to bring up. Could they and would they? Yeah.
Because even though the sheriff's office does the law enforcement here, it is city property, so we'd have to see what the requirements are for that. Those were our first buildings we brought in. This building here has pieces for inside the simunition. This one just has some junk stuff in it. And then that one there keeps our lawnmower stuff for care of the range. We got a side-by-side that we use to haul stuff around, grant money also. We could have never bought it, without that grant money. Now, remember that picture I showed you of just a little white building, and then we added two? And State Patrol moved theirs from up by the building to there, so that's theirs. But then we put in 4 of these. Grants paid for all of those. And they really help with the storage, and they keep the mice out of things. You know, out here you can imagine the mice problems we have.
It's a great
Snakes.
physical barrier between the ranges too. There's a rifle range off to the left side of those. And so it's a nice barrier between the ranges to keep people separated and moving towards there.
Are there snakes?
Every once in a while. Usually just bull snake.
Yeah, a snake's a snake.
True. And I've given you the figures each year, but I'll give you the total at the end. 2021, we got that amount for improvements. We had to get 2 mowers. We were having the city try to help us mow it, and it just wasn't working. So the first few years, Mikey and Brett and I come out here on our day off, or once in a while if we had a Friday when we didn't have a lot to do, come out here and mow it. Well, that took a lot of work. So we have a retired state trooper now that we let him use the range for his payment, and him and his wife come out and mow it for us, so we don't have to pay for that. But those are the things that come for. Training robot, we'll show you those. Those are another room. They're pretty neat. They're remote controlled, and you can shoot them and they react all over, things like that. Just stuff that is awesome to help better our officers, deputies, troopers, but we couldn't afford if we had to buy it out of our budgets. One of those robots is about 12 grand. And when you see them, you're gonna think I'm crazy for buying it, but it is a very good training tool. And then as we all move to optics on our weapons, so it's a red dot away from just the straight sights, we have to have our training pistols have those same things. So in the grant, we were able to get some optics to put on our training pistols. In 2022, the biggest things we had some of those old halogen lights that, you know, they start out real dim and then get brighter and brighter, take forever to get bright. And as they're getting brighter, the meter's just spinning as fast as it could go. We had the electric department look into some like stadium type lights. They're a little smaller, but they really light up well, but they're all LED, so they use a fraction of the energy that those halogen lights were, and they're much brighter. So we got those out. And then a very important thing, and Jessica helps us with that, she's our CPR trainer for the department. And so we got a set of training dummies for us here, and then a set to go to Lamar and a set Trinidad. We kind of have 3 hubs in our region, our Southeast training region. La Junta's one of them, Lamar and Trinidad. So we try to duplicate things as much as we can. We're one of the biggest training regions in Colorado with the least amount of officers because we're so rural. So this was a big one here. You guys will get to check these out. We had 1 bathroom up to that point, and we had a class where we had 50 students, and what a wreck on 5-minute or 10-minute break times. So we hit post up for what they call a capital improvement grant. So when we built all these buildings, they didn't have capital improvement. They would just, you know, take it out of our funds. Well, now they have a separate one where you can get it. And believe it or not, the cost of that bathroom, it's 2 bathrooms separate. We'll let you guys see them inside. $111,000 for that building right there.
They're not gold plated inside either.
No. That's just the cost of inflation and everything.
No
But
bidets.
you'll see they're very nice. But that was obtained by a grant, or we wouldn't have it out here. That's just kind of the interiors of them. So they're decent restrooms. They have heat and AC. So over the years in grant funds, just under $570,000 we got. So without these, it never would have happened. When Bill Jackson took over as DPS, he wanted to improve this facility, but I mean, this is one of the last things with city money that we got to use it for, so we had to find grants and stuff. So when I took over and this opportunity started coming around, we capitalized on it, and it's really helped. It's just got a great training facility, really, like Scott said. We have the Smalleys, who are big in Adams County Sheriff's Office. They have a big facility called Flat Rock Training Facility. When Carl and his wife come down to teach our officers and deputies how to be driving instructors, he calls it Flat Rock South down here. So he says it's one of the best ones, and we get bragged on. We have outside training come in, like Scott talked about, and it just makes us proud that, you know, instructors come in and say, hey, for a small town, small agency like this is one of the best facilities we go to. So it's great to hear that, and that word gets out. And when we have some of these trainings, especially the firearms trainings, we get them from as far as Nevada, Arizona, and then, you know, Kansas, Oklahoma, not a whole lot from the north, but just from everywhere, they come and train here. So it helps you get those quality classes to come here because they know we can fill them.
It's not just us in the city, it's the counties around us. So the 7 or 8 counties around us all benefit directly from this facility and send officers in to train. Kiowa, all of them send people in for this. It's an impressive facility when you look at what's around us here in this region.
And finally, we've changed the name from La Junta Range. It's been called Eubanks. It's been called a lot of them. So the official name now is the La Junta Police Department Memorial Training Facility. We have a memorial rock. We're working to get it worked out here. Brand Hooks have just agreed to donate us all the landscaping for it. And what that rock is going to have is having the saying, the Joneses helped us get it. Melanie and not Brian, the elder brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it has a saying about police officers. And this one's not a fallen officer memorial. This is a memorial for any reserve or officer that worked at La Junta. So Sheriff Mobley is eligible. Sheriff Everly got his start with La Junta Police Department. Sheriff Johnson did. So there's been a lot of
The undersheriff
Yeah.
also.
So when they pass, if their family chooses, they can buy a plaque and put on that rock. So there'll be a nice memorial rock there. Steve's gonna put gravel around it, boulders, some trees. It'll just be an awesome thing for the family. So we hope to, if we can get it all done, maybe by next Police Officer Week, have a dedication ceremony out here and really thank everybody that donated and helped get this going. So that'll be coming in. As you come in the gate, you might see that little concrete that's got a few weeds around it. That's where the start of it will be. It'll be in that area.